world peace in record time. I'm sure that'll last. My name is Stephen Strange, and I've been looking for you for a long time.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my full Marvel What If Season 2 Episode 6 video. There are a whole bunch of Easter eggs and references, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. We finally started getting a bunch of post-credit scenes in all the episodes of them putting together this multiverse team, so it sounds like they are ramping things up as we get to the last couple of episodes. And because we are getting closer to the finale, a lot of people have been asking, will there be a What If Season 3? Yes, they're already working on it right now. I don't know when it's going to air. It'd probably be 2025, maybe 2026, depending on how far along they are. But careful for spoilers from the episode. If you haven't seen it yet, we'll start at the beginning, work our way through shot by shot, talking about Easter eggs, WTF moments, and that post-credit scene, sort of like the end credits with Supreme Strange showing up. But starting with the episode title, What If Kahori Reshaped the World? I'm probably going to mispronounce her name just a little bit because they tried to be as authentic as possible to real-world Mohawk Native American history. They even included a special thanks to the Mohawk Nation in the end credits scene because they collaborated with them on the episode to make sure that the history was accurate for these people. These are what they were like during this part of history, and this is the way those characters would react if they went through these similar circumstances. If a bunch of the Mohawks suddenly gained a bunch of superpowers, this is how most of them would react to it, and this is what would happen as a result. They also wrote a lot of brand new music and theme songs for the episode, and I think they collaborated with them on that too, based on a lot of classic Mohawk traditions. The episode is basically what if the Tesseract had given powers to the Native American Mohawks before the colonization of America? How would that have changed the balance of power in the world? So it's kind of like Wakanda in the Black Panther character, in how the Wakandan nation evolved because they were so powerful. The real big change in this episode, though, they go in a completely different direction. Instead of closing the borders of America or trying to take over the planet, Kahori and her tribe are very active in trying to bring peace to the rest of the world, even though at the end of the episode, Supreme Strange is yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. That's just his own very dark sense of humor. You have to remember how hardcore his origin story was, he destroyed his entire universe. Devery Jacobs is voicing the character. She's also playing a completely different character during the Echo episodes, but it's not meant to be connected to her What If character. It's just a coincidence. She's a totally new character that they created just for this episode, or for the show just in general. I'm assuming they might bring her back in Season 3. They brought Captain Carter back. There's always a couple really big characters that they treat with really big importance that they want to keep bringing back. Sometimes these characters work their way into live action, so it is possible we see Kahori in live action at some point, maybe during Secret Wars. Sometimes characters that originate on the shows and in the movies also work their way into the comics, kind of flowing in reverse. Harley Quinn over at DC is probably one of the most famous examples of that. She started on Batman the Animated Series and then worked her way into DC Comics and became a big comic book character. Q&T was playing her younger brother, Wada. She's actually also playing the live-action version of Katara during Avatar The Last Airbender Netflix episodes. I literally just did a big trailer video for that, so I'll link it below in the description. But you have all the bending in that universe, in the Avatar universe. They're kind of energy bending in this episode. Different kind of energy bending, they're not bending their own spiritual energy, they're bending more literal energy. If you don't know what energy bending is, or you've never seen Avatar The Last Airbender, don't worry, there's a lot of really cool stuff coming early next year, and we have a bunch of animated Avatar stuff coming soon too. One of the reasons why they cast her, obviously, is because she's a good actress, but she's also of Mohawk Native American descent, just like all the characters in the episode, so they try to be as authentic to the Mohawk as possible. One of the other major differences in the episode, as you could tell immediately almost, is that it's the first episode that What If has ever done that's almost entirely in foreign language, Mohawk and Spanish. The Watcher and Supreme Strange are the only ones in the episode who actually speak in English. During the Marvel Studios intro, they played the speedrun version again, but they wrote special theme music, like I said, for the episode and gave the character a bunch of her own theme music, which plays over these titles. They'll probably release a vinyl album or put it on digital at some point, so you will be able to get the soundtrack pretty soon. The Watcher narrates how history went differently in this universe. Ragnarok comes to Asgard much earlier in the timeline. Surtur is able to destroy Asgard, R.I.P., killing Odin, damaging the Tesseract in the process, which he tried to use against Surtur. It's Clancy Brown who came back to do the voice for Surtur again. He did his voice during Thor Ragnarok. The dialogue they gave him in the episode is also similar to the dialogue that he had during Thor Ragnarok when he was destroying Asgard during that movie.
I am Asgard's doom!
Then the damaged Tesseract winds up falling to Earth, and the Infinity Stone energy from the Space Stone, because we're talking about an Infinity Stone here, creates a portal into a pocket dimension inside the Space Stone itself. And because it's a Space Stone, we're talking about opening portals, moving stuff through space. When people come into proximity with the broken Tesseract, they're pulled into that other dimension, and because inside that pocket dimension, all the organic life is laced with Infinity Stone energy, the minute you come into contact with it, like you drink the water, or you eat the food, or you eat the plant life, you also gain those powers too. They all have the same basic powers: super speed, telekinesis. Their bodies are way stronger, maybe not Hulk strong, but much stronger than a normal human, like they can run through the ships, and they have the ability to open portals, but it seems like some of them are a little bit more powerful than others. But I also think in the episode, Kahori, for instance, tries a little bit harder to unlock her powers more fully. So I think the idea is that they can all train their powers up to be even greater. Captain Marvel also wound up coming into contact with Tesseract energy, getting her powers, Infinity Stone powers basically, but they're completely different from all these characters' powers. They show you where most of the episode takes place in the Americas. This is where the Mohawk lived during that part of history. We meet Kahori and her tribe while they're picking corn, just going about their regular day. This is meant to be as accurate as possible to what their life was like during this period in history, like the way that they lived, the houses they lived in, what their villages looked like. In this universe, because of the way the Tesseract fell to Earth, they explained that her tribe had a war a long time ago with other neighboring tribes around the site where the broken Tesseract crashed because they sensed a great power in this quote-unquote forbidden lake. During that ancient battle, because it created a portal that sucked a bunch of people from all the different tribes into it, everyone at the time thought that it was cursed and just caused them to lay down arms and make a peace agreement, cursing the area and forbidding anyone from ever going to the battle site, so no one ever really learned the truth about the Tesseract portal until now. The Sky World she references became part of their folklore after that great battle, the legends that they passed down to the younger generations, but in the episode, because of the Tesseract portal, it winds up being an actual place, just an alternate dimension that everybody gets transported to. Her speech about how the power of the lake should have brought the tribes together instead of causing a war between them is foreshadowing for the way they end the episode when she makes peace with the rest of the world, starting with the Spanish. Basically flipping the script on the history of Wakanda, like instead of closing their borders up, like closing up shop and just kicking everyone out and leaving them to their own devices, they actually try to bring peace to the entire world without conquering it. You kind of see how this plays out in present day in the MCU. Like there's a war brewing around Wakanda and all their vibranium. They kind of got into that during Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Like, give us all of your vibranium. Val, the United States president, all the other nations all want that sweet, sweet vibranium honey. They'll probably pay that off during Captain America 4, Brave New World. Then we see the Spanish conquistadors attack their village. They're looking for the Fountain of Youth, which is based on real-life history. So Ponce de Leon was a Spanish explorer who discovered Florida in the early 1500s when he was actually looking for the Fountain of Youth. Generally, the episode is meant to take place around this period in real-world history. They run from them and fall into the cave containing the broken Tesseract in the portal. Kahori winds up falling into it and into the alternate dimension. The way they show her origin here, too, it's also similar to Scarlet Witch's origin with the Mind Stone during WandaVision, the way it unlocked the power in her. It's also giving a lot of Lord of the Rings energy, with Bilbo finding the Ring of Power in that deep, dark cave. The Space Stone pocket dimension is also a bit of an Easter egg for the Soul World of the Soul Stone in the comics. The Soul Gem in the comics contains a pocket dimension called the Soul World. It's not a paradise like this place, though. I already explained all the logic of the pocket dimension here, like all the organic life is laced with Infinity Stone energy, so the minute you come into contact with that, like you drink the water, you eat the food, the plant life, the animals, you gain those powers too. So like even the fish that they pull out of the water here, the fish are also laced with Infinity Stone energy, super powered fish that they're eating basically. They also don't really explain this, but it seems like there's a time dilation effect inside here where time passes slower because a bunch of time seems like it goes by where she does her big powers montage, just training her abilities up before she goes back. But when she goes back, it seems like no time has passed at all. She winds up waking up, they give her new clothes, everything here is designed based on Tesseract energy, like all these blue designs baked into their natural Mohawk designs. Atarax gives her a tutorial on how the pocket dimension works, and she vows to save her people, returning to stop the Spanish, and they give her the training montage. It's a bit like Rambo Pocahontas with her own theme music. The soundtrack for the episode was actually pretty cool, so hopefully they do release this pretty soon. They explained that all her other Mohawk ancestors who are living here with superpowers view it as a gift, like it's a paradise that they're all just enjoying, sort of like a permanent vacation. They don't really care about any of the things that they cared about before, even though they do acknowledge that terrible things are happening with their descendants. To be fair, they do say that a bunch of them have tried to escape through the portal, but no one's actually tried to pull the portal down closer to Earth the way that Kahori does during the episode. She winds up being the one to do that, inspiring everyone else with a big rousing call to action, like we need to use our powers to help everyone else. When they get into the argument where she tells him that they need to use their powers to help everyone, it kind of reminded me of that classic Spider-Man panel that everybody always posts, doing the same thing with Sauron and him not caring, like, nope, I don't want to use my powers or my intellect to help the world, I want to use them to turn people into dinosaurs. Her montage of her falling over and over again reminded me of Loki falling. She's been falling for 30 minutes. They do their version of a great buffalo hunt, chasing their herd to obtain the special Tesseract fruit that grows from their bodies. She unlocks her powers even more, and when he says, "Welcome to the New World," that's a bit of a reverse on the Spanish conquistadors coming to America. To them, America was the New World. The other conquistadors get sucked into the portal, attacking the superpowered Mohawk tribe. These are kind of like those funny videos that you see of people posting online of dudes trying to rob people, but the people they rob wind up being hardcore MMA stars, just beating the crap out of them. When she stops all the bullets and takes their guns, that's also just like Magneto in that first X-Men movie. There are a lot of X-Men vibes just in general throughout the entire episode, but they're not mutants, technically. The only reason why I say they're not mutants is because you have to be born with the X gene to be a traditional mutant, like you have to be born with your powers instead of getting them later in life. When you fall into a vat of toxic waste or have some industrial accident like classic Marvel characters, you're called a mutate, like Monica Rambeau, Spider-Man, the Hulk. They're all mutates, not mutants. She unlocks her powers enough to pull the portal to Earth, giving her rousing call to action before coming back alone to stop the Spanish from taking her tribe. This scene of her on the beach trying to stop them, then stop the cannon fire, was also just like Magneto during X-Men First Class, stopping all the missiles on the beach. Really cool reveal too, their rally moment when all the Mohawks' eyes appear in the forest, showing that they've come through the portal, like they listened to her and they've come to help. After they destroy the ships and save everyone, they explained that they went around the rest of the country destroying all the Spanish expeditionary forces who had sent multiple separate groups across the coast. So you have to imagine all these Mohawks running around America at super speed, destroying ships. There's a bit of a time jump, and they pick up in the Spanish court with Queen Isabella just yelling about why all their ships have been lost, and Kahori portals in their Mohawk team, making peace with her instead of destroying them, which they could have done pretty easily, like there'll be no future for your people if you do not make peace. And if you missed it, when she's challenging the Queen of Spain, she's speaking in Spanish, not in Mohawk. That's why the Queen could understand her, because the Queen cannot speak Mohawk. Just as they make their peace offering, and it seems like it's going to be successful, Supreme Strange opens his own portal from another universe, claiming he's been looking for her for a long time. Now, maybe not her specifically, probably just looking for someone like her with a desire to help the entire planet, like this good-natured person who has incredible powers. Like, you will be useful in the war to come. And basically, it's like a repeat version of what we just saw in the episode 5 post-credit scene with Scarlet Witch doing the same thing with Captain Carter, pulling her across the multiverse.
That is she. The one who can save our queen.
More. She will save our world.
When he was portaling in, they also started playing some of his Doctor Strange theme music. He's basically putting together his own version of a multiverse team. Now, I don't know if they're going to be in opposition to the multiverse team that Scarlet Witch is putting together, or if it's part of the same team and they're just bringing them together on their own. But either way, this is just reminding you that Supreme Strange is back this season, and I think this is all set up for the last 2 episodes, like the Marvel 1602 episode and then the finale. Because there's only one more episode before the Marvel 1602 episode, we'll probably get another post-credit scene like this in episode 7. We get the quick outro narration from the Watcher, basically just narrating what we just saw go down. And during the end credits, like I said, there is the special thanks to the Mohawk Nation for collaborating on the episode to help them with a lot of the lore and the mythology here, expanding on it. There are a bunch of Easter eggs and references in the episode, so if you spotted any that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments. There's not a lot that I know about actual real-world Mohawk history, so there are probably a lot of Easter eggs that are specific to that mythology. So if you do know a lot about that, you probably spotted a bunch of things that other people missed. Big reminder, my episode 7 video will post tomorrow. That'll be the What If Hela Found the 10 Rings episode. It's basically the Shang-Chi characters versus Odin. It looks like it's going to be another banger. Everybody click here for that video. I'll update the link as soon as I post that, and click here for all my other What If episodes. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.